Okay, so starting with OneNote, before sort of diving into some of the features, here are some examples of how charities already use OneNote. I've got put a couple of main ones on here. So we've got project planning, which is great for storing campaign plans, timelines, documents. You've got volunteer coordination, sorry, which is ideal for sort of onboarding notes if you have training or you have, let's say, some default emails that go out when people sort of put in requests to you. You can sort of store them all in here ready to use. And then obviously you can also keep things like the frequently asked questions and training materials. So it's very useful for when someone new joins the organization. They have sort of one place that they can go to which has a lot of information. It's also used quite heavily for grant applications. So people sort of keep a lot of the research requirements and notes within OneNote. So I've seen a couple of organizations use this very well, and that is because they sort of keep everything within the OneNote, and they share the note sections, which I'll go into a bit later. But they share it with the team and sort of allocate people certain tasks so they can sort of manage workload as well through the OneNote. So you also have ACE or programs work, so you can anonymize notes and follow-up actions, which can all be centralized. That's what I was kind of just referring to there. And then, like I say, you've also got knowledge libraries and handovers. So it's really simple to share information between staff and volunteers. Okay, so we're going to jump into a bit about how you sort of structure and some sort of best uses for OneNote. What I'd always say is sort of demonstrating OneNote is it's going to look completely different for everyone who opens it. Whether you're sort of going through the web or dependent on the version of OneNote you have, it's all going to look completely different. But hopefully the sort of things we go over today is going to be features through the web, through the app, no matter what version you're on. It might just be in a slightly different location, so you may just have to look around a little bit. But like I say, OneNote is one of those products where for everyone it looks completely different. But a screenshot here is one of the most common ones, and I have a slightly different one as well, which is the most up-to-date one. So we'll do the demo on that. So one of the benefits is you have notebooks, so you can sort of set the sort of main structure or main folders, I'd say. Then you can have pages within that, so it makes it easy if you want to sort of have departments as the main folders. Then you can have sort of projects, meeting notes, and sort of personal work within that, so then you have all of the pages that people can sort of flow through to. And that's through the sections. So we're adding sort of categories, and we can, if there's sort of follow-up tasks or anything like that, we can also sort of set that to people. You then have the pages and the sub-pages, and it's all just sort of how deep you want to go in. Most of the time, you're sort of going to have one or two. You might have, like I mentioned, for the sort of teams and then individuals or projects within that. Okay, so what I'm going to do in a second, I'm going to start a demo because I want to sort of jump straight into that because that's where we can really show you the most features. Just keep in mind, if you have any questions, just chuck them in the chat throughout. If there's anything that I see pop in, if I can show you there, then I will. If not, we can sort of at the end go over some of the questions. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to start off by sort of showing you this version of OneNote that I'm on. So you can see down the left-hand side, you have your notebooks. So I've got my sort of main notebook here. You can add new ones as well, but for this, there's no reason to, because what we can do, as you can see here, I've sort of got my main sections here. So for me, myself, I use OneNote quite a lot. I've sort of removed quite a lot of demos just to try and anonymize everything I can. But you'll see here I've got sort of templates, which is hugely important. And like I say, if you have people who are still in training, or you're wanting to upskill your team, I'd recommend having a template here. And then you can share. So once you sort of, let's create a new section so you can see. So to create a new section, maybe we'll call this one marketing. And you can see we've created the main notebook here, and then we can add pages within that. So let's add a couple of pages. You can see this first page might be training 1. And then what we can do, we can start sharing these with people. So we can either share the entire notebook if you want everyone to be able to see everything within. For example, here it's Oliver at Qlic IT. You can copy a link to the notebook if you just want them to access it if they're outside of the organization, or we can sort of just email the pages as well. So if you do want to just share sort of a couple of training pages with someone, if you've got notebooks, obviously you can imagine notebooks probably do get to the point where you've got hundreds of different notes within it. You can share specific pages that are sort of relevant to that person, or you can split them out and then sort of share the sections here. So I've already got one here. So I've got a couple of different ones, just to give you an idea of what we use them for. So obviously at the moment we have a big push for sort of telecoms. So when we're doing telecoms sort of demos, I want to make sure that I'm hitting all of the right points within the meeting. So I'm making sure that I am showing off everything that I want to, and obviously this is going to be slightly different for every organization. Let's say you're meeting with a funder, and you want to make sure that you're sort of asking them all of the right questions. If you have things that you sort of are fairly standard, you can put them all on here, and then as you're going through, you can make sure you're doing it all. And what you can do, a couple of the features, if you highlight, let's say highlight the first section here, and then go to home, I have some options up here of what I can do, and quite simply, I can insert tags. So let's say I want to assign this to a member of the team, or if it's all personal notes, because when I talk about it too, obviously you have the ability to have personal notes, but if we're talking team notes as well, you may find that it's actually good to add things like customized tags, and you can create a new tag, assign it to a person, give it a color, and then you can also set a symbol as well. So I'm not going to go through that just because there is quite a lot that are already in use. But what we'll do, so let me add a tag so you can see it in motion. I might want to add it as a to-do. So I've got to-dos here. So now when I'm on the meeting, as I'm going through it, let me tick these off and make sure that I am hitting every mark. At the end, I can go through and make sure I've done all of that. Or you might be sort of planning projects and things like that, so it can be very good for that as well. Some other options you have. You can create Outlook tasks. So let's say I want this to email me tomorrow to remind me to do all of this. I can do this. You can see I now have a flag here. So if I tick on that, it will email me tomorrow at the start of the day. So I'll get an email to say, okay, I need to provide a structured, reliable demo framework, for example. Jumping through, sorry, let me jump in here. A very useful feature that I don't see a lot of people using, and I wanted to sort of show off to everyone, is actually meeting notes. And if you working in meetings with sort of colleagues or customers or whoever it may be, a very useful feature that you can do is actually if you click on the home and then there's a symbol up here for meeting details. If you click on this, there's sort of two different versions you're going to get, depending on if you've got Copilot or not, and if you have Copilot turned on for your meetings. So let me say, go to yesterday, I had a couple of meetings. What I can do, I can click on one of the meetings I had within my calendar. So let's say it was this meeting I had. It's then going to fill this in. So if I did it on an untitled page, show it better show it off. So what it's going to do, it's going to put the name of the meeting up here. It's going to say your date and time of when I created this note. You can click into this and change it if you want to sort of sell it for next week, because what they're going to do is they're going to come in order of when they were sort of last edited or created, sorry. And you can see from this meeting, we didn't have Copilot turned on, but it's got in here sort of who the participants were. So this was me and Neil. We had this meeting. If you had Copilot turned on, it will give you notes below. It will give you follow-up action points, and it will tell you sort of who's agreed what I need to do, and then obviously if you have that, you then have because you're probably going to have Copilot. You have Copilot sort of built in. So there's a symbol here. You can either take notes with Copilot, and then what we could do is, let's say I had it turned on, I could then ask Copilot for sort of notes from the actual meeting itself. So let's say I want to find out, okay, what did me and Neil agree on? I could ask within this. So, and you can ask it to do things like send a follow-up email, and it'll sort of structure an email, put that together for you. I'm going to check my notes to see what else I wanted to show you within here, but that's probably one of the best things you can do. Maybe it'll be good to sort of show you how we can share this. So if you click on share, I've done email a copy of the page. It will then put that together. We'll give that a second. Okay, and now this is going to share that note. Obviously, it's going to, because I've done the meeting details, it's going to share it with the participants, so I can sort of send the meeting notes that I took, and if you have Copilot turned on, it will have all of them, or I can obviously send this to someone else, and then Neil will have a copy of everything that we spoke about in the meeting. We're using this more and more because we are getting it quite a lot where people actually are asked for, if we have Copilot on meetings, they ask for the notes. This is exactly what we'd send you if you asked for those. Yeah. I mean, so to be honest with you, OneNote is quite a simple thing to use. It's one of those that the more you use it and the more you share it, obviously the better everyone gets. It's just sort of making sure that you are using those tags and things so you can sort of set the follow-up tasks is probably one of the main things that everyone's going to be doing. So, I mean, it was quite a brief demo I've done there, but I'm going to go back to sharing the slides. And obviously, if anyone did have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And if we can, we'll go through them as well. Okay. A couple of the different platforms that people use, because I know I mentioned at the start that sort of we're going to be talking about OneNote today. You do have some other tools as well. So you've got things like Evernote, which is very good for taking personal notes. But the collaboration on it is a bit more limited, unless you sort of pay extra for those features. Obviously, OneNote's included for everyone within Microsoft. So if you have a Microsoft account, you have access to the OneNote, but it's all I can't just assume everyone here is on Microsoft. So if you're on Google or you're on sort of a different platform, you do have other options like the Evernote. You've got Google Keep if you're on Google, which is great for reminders, but again, just lacks that structure for the more detailed work and sort of being able to allocate notes to people and follow-up tasks. And then another one is Notion, which is a very good platform actually. I've seen a lot of organizations use it. It just takes some time to set up and maintain. So it's one of those that you can get your money's worth from it if you're sort of set to using it. But I'd always start off with OneDrive because, like I say, it is free for everyone to use.